I stopped chasing the campus heartthrob. I happened to overhear his friend's taunts. Tusk, this time you rejected her, but you seemed a bit hesitant. It looks like she wants to go to the same university as you. Who knows, after the exams, we might have to organize a wedding for you too. Arthur too angrily threw the basketball at them. Don't you dare pair me with that shallow kind of girl. Just hearing it makes me sick. On the first day of school, I was holding a few homemade cupcakes, waiting by the school gate, when I ran into Arthur too. When he saw me, his eyes briefly lit up, then quickly darted away, a hint of awkwardness on his face. Don't do that again, I don't have a sweet tooth. I shyly glanced at the heartthrob far away. How was I supposed to explain this? The one who actually liked sweets was my boyfriend, not him. I was just an ordinary girl, so ordinary that there was nothing remarkable about me. But that couldn't stop me from having a heart that always yearned for beauty. Just like my mother always used to say, men, in the end, they're all the same. Just pick the handsome one to love. At least then, in the middle of the night, you won't cry seeing yourself next to a pig. I always remembered those words. Since childhood, I'd loved chasing the most handsome boys in class. If I couldn't get the top heartthrob, I'd move to the second. If not the second, then the third. I kept going like that. By high school, most boys went through an awkward phase, their looks plummeting. Only Arthur, too, maintained his perfect handsomeness. I decided to make him my sole target, pursuing only him. Arthur, too, was smart, handsome, and even played the violin. Every time he stood on stage, his eyelashes slightly lowered, his long, slender fingers gliding across the strings, beautiful as an oil painting. When the performance ended, the entire hall erupted in thunderous applause. I could clearly hear my own heart pounding, drowning out all the surrounding noise. The first time I confessed to Arthur, he coldly asked, "So, what do you like about me?" "Hannah, huh?" I tilted my head, thought seriously, and replied, "You're the most handsome boy in school." He sneered. "Everyone who confesses to me says the same thing. Too bad I hate girls like you the most." Tusk. Even when he was mocking others, he was still so handsome. Arthur too's handsomeness completely captivated me, so much so that I no longer paid attention to the mumbled words from his mouth. I don't know what he said, but it made him furious. From that day on, he openly despised me, hated me placing a warm milk carton in his desk every morning, and even hated the sight of me bringing him water on the basketball court. He hated it even more when I intentionally or unintentionally ran into him. But just for that face, I could endure anything. I willingly became Arthur too's little shadow for 3 years, confessing countless times. So many times that I couldn't even remember the exact number. Of course, every time I was flat out rejected. My best friends were furious. "Hannah, you can't pursue boys like this. People online say what you're doing is called thick-skinned laundry." See. Is that so? I calmly scratched my head. They didn't understand. I was thick-skinned laundry, like that because that laundry was simply too beautiful. Today was Arthur too's birthday. I clutched the meticulously prepared gift and approached the door of his private room. The voices inside were clearly audible. "Arthur, tell us honestly, do you have feelings for Hannah, huh?" I froze, secretly listening through the crack in the door. That's it, Arthur's gone quiet. No wonder he looked so hesitant when he rejected her last time. Someone started gossiping about me. "Hannah Ha is just average, but she has big breasts, a small waist, a hot figure, and she's the kind of girl who falls blindly in love and is easy to manipulate. Arthur likes the usable type. When all the lights are off, everyone looks the same anyway. What matters is the feel." Haha, I heard she applied to the same university as Arthur. Who knows, after the exams, we might have to throw a wedding party for them. The laughter grew louder and louder. Thump! A basketball hit someone. They cried out in pain and immediately fell silent. The noisy room suddenly became terrifyingly quiet. Arthur, too, suddenly stood up, his handsome face alight with fury, his brows furrowed, eyes blazing. "Big breasts, small waist? If you like that so much, then you go date her. Don't you dare drag me into it with that shallow kind of girl. Disgusting." I bowed my head, staring intently at the cloth bag in my hand. On my way here, it had suddenly started raining heavily. Since I didn't have an umbrella, I was completely soaked. Only the cloth bag I clutched tightly was spared from the rain. Inside was Chopin's Farewell Waltz, a birthday gift I had carefully chosen a long time ago for Arthur, too. I wanted to tell him that even after graduation, we would definitely meet again at our dream university. If he accepted, it would open a new chapter for our story, not a farewell. I was wrong. How could Hannah compare to Arthur? It was just me being overly sentimental. The fake laughter and chatter still echoed inside. Arthur too's friends were notorious for their vulgarity, but his reply still left me stunned and disbelieving. Suddenly, everything felt meaningless. The face I had admired for 3 years without tiring could utter such hurtful words. I gently placed the music sheet down, turned, and walked away without a single glance back. The next day, I took half a day off sick. As soon as I opened my textbook, Arthur too appeared. He tapped on my desk. Hannah, homework submission. His voice seemed annoyed. The university entrance exams are coming up soon. It's crunch time. Where were you yesterday? Didn't see you all day. But I was at school yesterday, and I submitted all my assignments on time. I didn't understand why he was asking. You were at school, yes, but it was my birthday yesterday, and you didn't show up. Unable to stop myself, I cut him off. You hate me so much. I didn't attend your birthday party. Shouldn't you be happy about that? My voice, hoarse from illness, made Arthur too freeze, a brief flicker of surprise on his face. His anger visibly subsided. Were you sick yesterday? He asked, his voice softer. He then tossed a box of medicine at me. After school, don't wander around. Getting sick now will affect your university exams. He hesitated for a moment, then added, don't misunderstand. As class president, it's my responsibility to keep track of everyone's studies. You once said you wanted to apply to Tsinghua University. Tsinghua had always been Arthur too's dream. Although Huada University next door was a better fit for me, I had always wanted to apply to Tsinghua, just to walk the path of his bright future. But now, I no longer thought that way. I decided to change my application to Huada, but I had no intention of letting Arthur too know about my change of heart. I merely replied indifferently, thanks for your concern, class president, I'll do my best. Arthur too smiled, a hint of satisfaction playing on his lips. Unconsciously, he raised his hand as if to pat my head. Perhaps it was just my imagination. His hand paused in midair, then slowly lowered. Before he left, he uttered a brief sentence, if there are any math problems you don't understand, just ask me anytime. Helping you get into Tsinghua is also my responsibility. I'm the class president after all. Arthur too emphasized the last few words, as if afraid I might think something else, or perhaps he was reminding himself. After the university entrance exams, everyone became busy. Some calculated their scores, some submitted applications, some awaited results. That summer passed silently, leaving only the buzzing of cicadas and long tree shadows. Nearing the enrollment date, my best friend invited me to our high school class reunion. As soon as she saw me, she shrieked, "Oh my God, you got your hair done? You look amazing. Just wait until you get into Tsinghua. You'll definitely make Arthur too fall head over heels for you." My heart tightened slightly. Actually, I didn't apply to Tsinghua. I got into Huada, and besides, I already have a boyfriend. We'll meet when school starts. Her eyes widened in disbelief. You chased Arthur too for 3 whole years, and you just let go like that. Not only that, you already have a boyfriend. How did you two meet? Under my best friend's relentless questioning, I had to admit, his name is Julian Xu. I saw his picture in the comments section of Huada's confession page. Thinking of Julian Xu's handsome face, sharp eyebrows, and sparkling eyes, my face unconsciously flushed. It's not like I wanted to change my mind so quickly, but he's really too handsome. And Julian Xu is super easy to win over. We'd only been friends for a few days, and he already accepted my confession. My best friend rushed over, loudly demanding to see Julian Xu's picture. Oh my God, I approve of this wedding. He's a true Prince Charming. Just as she finished speaking, a familiar, clear, and warm male voice rang out behind me. Arthur too stood there, a rare, gentle smile on his lips. Hannah, I heard you got in too. Congratulations. I turned around. Arthur too's gaze lingered on my face. He froze for a moment, then quickly reverted to his initial calm demeanor. His throat subtly moved, his tone slightly probing. I called you a few days ago, but you didn't answer. Were you looking for me for something? I had actually changed my phone number, but I didn't intend to tell him. It wasn't anything important, just wanted to ask if you had a lot of luggage and if you needed any help. He added, anyway, we'll be classmates from now on, so we should help each other out a bit. Remembering Julian Xu's jealousy, I quickly shook my head. No need. At this moment, everyone around us was immersed in boisterous laughter. No one noticed Arthur too and I standing in a hidden corner. Arthur too cleared his throat softly. You came to my birthday party that day, didn't you? The young man's voice was utterly confident. That copy of Farewell Waltz left at the door was chosen by you. So you braved the rain just to give me a birthday gift, and then you got sick, right? I looked at Arthur too with a puzzled expression. These things had happened so long ago that even I had almost forgotten them. What exactly was he trying to say? Arthur too retained his usual awkwardness. Actually, I didn't hate you that much, and that gift is my favorite. Hearing me say this, you must understand what I mean, right? Perhaps Arthur too just didn't want any conflict among classmates, which was why he was trying to reconcile. After thinking for a long time, I still didn't perceive any other feelings, so I just nodded slightly in agreement. Arthur too let out a long sigh of relief. Suddenly, he moved closer. I was startled when he pulled me into a hug. Hannah, I'm really happy you also got into university. See you at Tsinghua? Arthur too's smile was radiant, his eyes sparkling with anticipation. The inability to contact me made Arthur too feel a strange, inexpressible discomfort. Before the university entrance exams, he had already felt that something was off. There were no longer warm milk cartons in his desk every morning, and next to the basketball court under the scorching sun, the girl who always patiently waited for him to finish practice was gone. On Hannah's desk, there used to be a small sign that clearly read, I will definitely get into Tsinghua University. Even that sign, I had already taken and hidden. These seemingly insignificant changes buzzed like mosquitoes in his ear, slowly occupying Arthur too's mind. In addition, there were the still damp footprints outside the party room. Along with the Farewell Waltz, music sheet left by an unknown person, all these things kept distracting him. Few knew that this particular piece of music was almost lost. He had spent a lot of effort searching for it. Who could understand him so well? Could it be Hannah? A girl so shallow, who only liked his looks, how could she possibly understand his perseverance and love for music? But lately, Hannah hadn't paid him any attention. She no longer trailed after him like before. She must be fully focused on the Tsinghua entrance exam. Yet, after the exams ended, Hannah still didn't return to being his little shadow as usual. Arthur, too, suddenly felt worried about his appearance. He constantly looked in the mirror, afraid that the stressful days of studying had made him look worse, with some unhealed pimples. He even secretly followed Hannah's social media, checking what kind of male fashion she liked recently, then comparing and buying a few similar outfits. When he heard her best friend say that Hannah had gotten into Tsinghua, Arthur too was overjoyed. He knew it. Hannah liked him so much, how could she give up so easily? Arthur too suddenly realized that he didn't hate the idea of being classmates with her at all. In fact, he was even looking forward to it a little. At Tsinghua, it would just be him and Hannah, without the teasing friends who always annoyed him. Could their relationship change? Why was he even thinking this? When he definitively knew that the music sheet was from Hannah, Arthur too suddenly realized something. Hannah wasn't as bad as he thought. She wasn't like those girls who only cared about his looks. She was very sincere. In short, he told himself he could give her a chance. He suddenly remembered a line from the movie, The Painted Veil, when Walter said to Kitty after her betrayal, I know you're foolish, shallow, and empty-headed, but I still love you. I know you're materialistic and ordinary, but I still love you. I know you're not outstanding, but I still love you. A Hannah who only liked handsome boys, had average grades, and an unimpressive appearance was indeed second tier. But she had truly worked hard to get into Tsinghua because of him. Arthur too admitted that this had touched his heart. I don't hate you that much, was his hidden message. He wondered if she understood. Thinking this, Arthur too unconsciously looked at Hannah with a gentle gaze. Her new hairstyle suited her very well. She was engrossed in her phone, probably reading something that made her smile brightly, her cheeks flushed. Even though she looked ordinary, sometimes she was quite adorable. Her phone vibrated constantly, full of messages from Julian Xu. Hannah, are you home yet? Let me know you're safe when you get back. It's 10 p.m. Still not home? Don't tell me some ex-boyfriend is keeping you at the reunion. Don't smile at him. Are you really mad if you don't reply? I was just kidding. Wow, I miss you so much, Hannah. Don't let anyone steal you away. Julian Xu was not only jealous but also very clingy. Despite being very handsome, for some reason he was very insecure, always afraid I would leave him. He had once said he wanted to visit my city, but I didn't think it was necessary yet, so I skillfully declined. The corner of my mouth curved into a faint smile. My finger glided across the screen, sending a reassuring message. Be good. School starts in a few days, just a little more effort. I miss you too. Thinking of his photo showing off his abs, I added another message. Don't overthink things. There are no ex-lovers. Who else would there be? I only like my precious darling. After completing my enrollment procedures at Huata, I went to my cousin's house in High City, where Julian Xu was also staying, hoping to create a small surprise for our first meeting. Because he had previously mentioned his love for sweets, I secretly prepared a small cake to personally give him that afternoon. Julian Xu would surely love this gift. Finally, the delicious strawberry cake was complete. I admired my creation from every angle, feeling utterly satisfied. Without hesitation, I took a picture and posted it on social media with the caption, "He's even sweeter than cake." Just a few seconds later, a secondary account with a gray profile picture liked the post. This account seemed very familiar. It had frequently visited my profile recently. Curious, I clicked to view it. The profile was completely empty with no posts. It didn't look like a normal social media user. Instead, it seemed like a secondary account someone created just to stalk others. Yet today, it suddenly liked a post. How strange. I placed the cake into a pretty box and carefully tied a pink ribbon around it. My mind was flooded with chaotic thoughts. This was my first time dating online, and also the first time I had truly fallen in love. Would I be clumsy later? What if Julian Xu was just an internet hot boy? His 187 cm height might just be a made-up number. And those six-pack abs, could they be photoshopped? In short, my mind revolved only around Julian Xu, not considering any other possibility. Perhaps the problem lay with myself. Back then, young Hannah had been ridiculed by classmates. Such an ordinary person, yet she only likes handsome guys. It's like a rat complaining about a broken wheel. At the time, I felt very sad, but my mother said it had nothing to do with being ugly or beautiful. I simply had an innate capacity for love. Are you supposed to love ugly people instead of handsome ones? If a handsome person likes you, it proves he has good taste. If he doesn't, then we're simply not a match. And what others thought or judged, what did it matter? Those secondary characters didn't affect my life. As long as I was happy, that was all that mattered. And back then, my mother had also chosen a man who was both handsome and intelligent, boldly pursued him, gave birth to a daughter, me, and then passed away. Taking a deep breath, my heart rate suddenly accelerated. While I was carefully considering backup plans like how to break up with Julian Xu smoothly if things didn't go well at all, handsome figure unexpectedly appeared before me. All my thoughts vanished. I stopped, annoyed. Looking up, my eyes met Arthur Tu's deep, dark gaze. He was standing right in front of the Tsinghua University gate, seemingly waiting for someone. As soon as he saw me, he immediately strode quickly toward me, glanced at what was in my hand, a knowing smile playing on his lips. Arthur too reached out his hand and casually took the gift box. Before I could even react, he smiled even more brightly. Don't do that again next time. You know I don't like sweets. But since you put so much effort into this one, I'll cherish this gift. Arthur too's eyes sparkled like tiny stars. Only then did I realize he was dressed completely differently than usual today, clearly having chosen his outfit deliberately. Normally, he seemed to only wear white t-shirts, but today he was wearing a shirt and jeans that vaguely resembled the male lead from a comic I had recently liked. Perhaps due to the change in style, his gestures seemed a bit forced and unnatural. Feeling my gaze, he cleared his throat softly, his earlobes turning red and his eyes shyly looked away. I observed him closely for a moment. The more I looked, the more I realized how blind I had been before. Compared to Julian Xu, Arthur too looked incredibly ordinary. His nose wasn't as high as Julian's, his skin wasn't as good, and his physique was still as slender as an elementary school student's, his arms so thin they looked like noodles. Clearly, after the university exams, he hadn't done any exercise at all. Moreover, Arthur too seemed to have misunderstood something. Was he confused from playing too much violin? What nonsense was he talking about? I completely didn't understand what he was saying. Just as I was about to reach out and take back the gift box, Arthur too stopped me. Annoyed, I slapped his hand hard. "Give it back. This isn't for you to eat." Okay, I said it wrong. "Whatever you make, I'll like it all. Don't be angry anymore, okay?" Arthur too thought I was just sulking and teasing him, lowering his voice to coax me. I was completely unaware of what was happening, and I wasn't joking at all. Not only that, he used his height to lift the cake box so high that even if I stood on tiptoes, I couldn't reach it. Then he gently patted my back as if coaxing a child, implying, "Don't be angry anymore." I was so flustered that I had to jump to snatch the cake. "Arthur too, can you stop being so narcissistic? I don't like you anymore. This cake is for my boyfriend." Yet he was still engrossed in his own imaginative world. "Hannah, don't talk tough. Everyone in 6th High knows you chased me for 3 years, but calling me your boyfriend right away, isn't that a bit too fast? I haven't decided yet." His words suddenly died on his face. The hand holding the cake box was firmly grasped by another large, strong hand with slender fingers, immobilizing it. Julian Xu gently tightened his grip on Arthur's hand. "Don't touch her." He tilted his head, looking at me with a gentle gaze and a smile. "Hannah, do you want to make it clear to this classmate who your boyfriend really is?" Arthur too instinctively frowned. "Who are you?" In pain, he was forced to let go of my hand. Witnessing my hand and Julian Xu's clasped tightly together, he stood motionless, like a stone statue. "His name is Julian Xu, and he's my boyfriend." Hearing my words, Arthur too's pupils immediately constricted. Especially when he clearly saw Julian Xu's face, he suddenly looked bewildered, unsure how to react. Arthur too stood there for a long time, still bewildered. "You, when did you start dating? You purposely made a strawberry cake, wasn't it because I'm allergic to mangoes?" he muttered. "You even said I was sweeter than cake." The secondary account secretly following me, it turned out to be Arthur too. My whole body trembled. "I don't want to say anything more to you. Now, can you give me back the cake?" Arthur too finally regained his composure. "It seems I'm too used to Hannah chasing me. I just assumed this cake was for me." Having said that, he turned to Julian Xu, a mocking smile on his face. "Your girlfriend uses these tricks to win over men. These are all tactics I've grown sick of over 3 years of high school. Only you would consider it a treasure." Arthur too's eyes widened. His hand released the cake box, letting it fall straight to the ground. Then he spun around and walked away quickly. Our first meeting was ruined by Arthur too, and it was such a chaotic mess. I stood rooted to the spot, head bowed, overcome with regret. Julian Xu squatted down, trying to salvage the discarded cake box. He carefully picked up the gift box, examining it for a long time, his voice filled with regret. "This is the first little cake Hannah made for me. I haven't even tasted it yet." Suddenly he exclaimed, "It's not crushed, it's still edible." Under the sunlight, a gentle breeze blew past. Julian Xu looked up, his handsome face beaming with joy, holding up the dented gift box like a trophy. That scene made my heart skip a beat. Instinctively, I softened my voice. "I'll make you many more little cakes from now on." "Really?" Julian Xu's eyes sparkled with joy, but then suddenly dimmed as he thought of Arthur too's words. "Then they have to be tastier than the ones you used to make for him, okay?" I hastily clarified. "This is my first time making a cake. He was just talking nonsense. I chose strawberries not because Arthur too is allergic to mangoes, but because you like strawberries." Julian Xu was definitely feeling insecure again. Although I didn't understand why such a handsome person had so many strangely insecure points, I was determined to use my affection to help him become more confident. To make him understand that in my eyes, he was the most wonderful person in the world. "Not just little cakes, but cream puffs, cookies, macarons. I'll only make them all for you to eat." The light in his eyes shone brighter again, and a smile unconsciously curved on his lips. "But it seems that other classmate was also very interested in that cake, wasn't he?" Julian Xu sighed softly. "If he knew I said these things to you, would he be angry with me?" He added, "Sorry, I can't help but overthink things. We met online, but you two have 3 years of history. What if one day he confesses, Hannah, would you abandon me?" His voice sounded innocent, but in his eyes there was a mischievous glint, as if he was cleverly setting a trap. I shook my head repeatedly. I must be overthinking things. I was certain that Julian Xu wasn't someone with deep calculations. I confidently reassured him, "Don't worry, that will absolutely never happen." Finally, a gentle smile bloomed on Julian Xu's lips. He pulled me into a hug, tightening his arms around me and tenderly kissing my ear. But what I didn't know was that Arthur too hadn't left yet. He had circled around behind the bushes, inadvertently stopping, witnessing the entire scene between Julian Xu and me. An intense jealousy seemed to seize his every thought. Arthur too clenched his fists, inadvertently meeting Julian Xu's deep, dark, scheming gaze. Julian Xu still held the same gentle smile he used to coax me, but his eyes indifferently swept past Arthur too, not even bothering to glance a second time. That Victor's demeanor, silent yet incredibly sharp, stabbed directly into Arthur too's eyes, making him feel as if he was being torn apart in silence. As soon as I returned to the dormitory, the first thing I did was open the secondary account that had been secretly following me all this time. Last night, that mysterious account had posted for the first time, "I know you're foolish, shallow, and empty-headed, but I still love you. I know your calculations, your ambitions. I know you're materialistic and ordinary, but I still love you. I know you're not outstanding, just second tier, yet I still love you. No matter how many flaws you have, I can't stop being drawn to you. I hate myself for being like this." Suddenly, Arthur too's words when he rejected me echoed in my mind. "Hannah, what do you know to dare say you like me? Don't touch my violin, you're just infatuated with my looks. What am I really like? What are my dreams? You don't care to find out. Stay away from me. Stop intentionally creating fake encounters. It's truly deceitful." So the second tier he mentioned was referring to me. Immediately, an even more terrifying thought flashed in my mind. Arthur too's strange behavior today, could it be because he liked me? I began to piece everything together and belatedly realized the truth. Just thinking about it made me feel disgusted. Immediately, I blocked that secondary account and all other contact channels with Arthur too. At first, I intended to give him a piece of my mind to vent my anger, but then I thought, what's the point of getting entangled with that rubbish? My youth should be spent enjoying university life, and Julian Xu's perfect physique. Arthur too quickly realized he had been blocked by me. He waited at the foot of my dormitory, his hoodie pulled low, obscuring half his face. "Hannah, I'm with my roommate." Startled by the call, I didn't understand how he found this place. "You lied to me," he said with a sad smile. "You didn't apply to Tsinghua at all. Do you know how long I spent looking for your name in every department's list at Tsinghua? Just as I was about to contact you, I found I was blocked." He continued, "Did you ever consider my feelings?" There was a time when I thought that if I saw Arthur too in such a pathetic state, I would surely feel triumphant. But in reality, my heart didn't waver, because I no longer liked him. So his joys, sorrows, and anger couldn't evoke any emotion from me, they just felt like noise. Even though Arthur too hesitated, his voice full of resentment, "Even if you're dating Julian Xu, can't we even be friends?" I looked at him indifferently, my face devoid of emotion. "You're not like that, don't you like this face of mine anymore?" He turned away sadly. In that moment, I suddenly saw a wound on Arthur too's forehead. Who hit him? It certainly wasn't Julian Xu. He was so gentle, how could he do such a thing? Arthur too must have fallen himself. Lately, Arthur too's mood seemed very bad. Not only because Arthur too discovered the truth that Hannah hadn't enrolled in Tsinghua University, but also because he overheard some rumors about her. A former middle school classmate of Hannah's recounted, "Oh, she's a real asterisk femme fatale. Back in school, she had a secret crush on a friend of mine and pursued him persistently for a whole year. She was meticulously caring, comforting, and attentive to his feelings, which moved my friend to tears, and he finally agreed to date her. Guess what happened next? They dated for a mere 3 days before going their separate ways. She was the one who initiated the breakup. The reason? Well, my friend didn't grow an inch taller when he hit puberty. The most beautiful phase was too short, and she frankly said dating someone not tall enough was boring. See. If that's not a asterisk femme fatale, what is it? Liking him was real, pursuing him was sincere, but falling in love quickly and retreating quickly, that's the real Hannah. Arthur, too, suddenly felt confused and bewildered. He began to regret his impulsive act of throwing the cake to the ground that day. And he grew to dislike that overly dramatic Julian Xu even more, the one who intentionally pretended to cherish the damaged cake, making Arthur, too, seem even smaller in Hannah's eyes. At that moment, Arthur, too, confronted the cowardice in his heart for the first time. All the lingering torment, the unwillingness to accept, the jealousy, it all stemmed from the fact that he liked Hannah Ha but didn't dare to face it. After thoroughly thinking everything through, he suddenly felt relieved, his mood becoming much calmer. Currently, the feelings between Hannah Ha and Julian Xu weren't truly deep yet. He had to quickly find a way to win her over. There was still a chance, he was sure of it. Arthur, too, stayed up all night. The next day, he asked everyone to help him inquire about the class lists of all departments, hoping to find Hannah Ha's classroom and dormitory. The result was that there was no one named Hannah Ha on this year's enrollment list. He hastily called his high school homeroom teacher. Only then did he learn that Hannah Ha had enrolled in Huada. He opened his phone, intending to text her, only to discover he had been blocked on all social media platforms. The confidence that Arthur, too, had so painstakingly rebuilt instantly vanished into thin air. As you predicted, the farewell waltz was a gift from me. The reason I didn't appear was because that day, standing outside the party room, I heard your friend's mockery of me and your disgusted attitude, too. I smiled faintly. How could someone as humble and ordinary as me be worthy of being your ordinary friend? It's true that I'm a bit infatuated with handsome boys, but I won't lower my self-esteem to love anyone. Arthur, too, was completely bewildered. What did I say that day? He didn't even remember what he had said. How ridiculous. I was about to turn and walk away when he hastily ran to block my path. Wait, I must have said something to hurt you. Can you give me a chance to make amends? I even made a small cake for you. My face was devoid of emotion. Arthur, too, began to try his utmost, as if wanting to tear out his heart to prove his sincerity. Even if you purposely applied to Huada to spite me, I don't care. It only takes 20 minutes to get from here to Tsinghua. I can come see you every day. Didn't you used to try harder to be excellent to be worthy of me because you liked me? His voice grew agitated. Also, yesterday at school, someone ambushed and beat me up. It must have been Julian Xu. He's not at all like a decent student. He's truly a hypocrite. How could you associate with someone like that? I looked straight into Arthur II's eyes, my voice calm but sharp. Arthur II, I think you might have misunderstood something. I chose Huada not to spite you, nor to prove anything to anyone, but because it's the future I desire. You think all the efforts I put in were to be worthy of you? You're wrong. I studied, I strived forward, never to stand beside anyone, but to have the right to choose my own life. Whether it's Tsinghua or Huada, I got in with my own abilities. That only proves I'm a talented girl. It doesn't say anything about how attractive you are. He stood frozen, his face alternating between red and white. As for Julian Xu hitting you, if he really did, then it's not right. But have you ever asked yourself why you deserve to be hit? You stood high above, judging if I was worthy of your attention, but you never considered that the truly inferior one is the person who has to put others down to elevate themselves, like you. Arthur, too, still stood there, dazed in the wind. Today he was dressed as handsomely as ever, his hair slicked back, seemingly wanting to use his slightly pitiable appearance as a final card. But under the scorching summer sun, his hair gel mixed with sweat, making his hair matted, and his shirt clung to his slightly hunched back, looking both messy and pathetic. It's too late now. Julian Xu is waiting for me for dinner. After a long silence, Arthur, too, finally managed to mumble a sentence. Hannah Ha, I'm sorry. I don't accept that apology, and furthermore, don't look for me at Huada again. I'll find it very annoying. As I turned to leave, I suddenly recalled the afternoon I intended to give him the gift. Arthur II's words and his friend's mocking laughter had been like salt rubbed into my heart back then. At that moment, I had genuinely wanted to throw the farewell waltz music sheet into the trash. But in the end, I didn't. Because no matter how cheap and deceptive his affections might have been, I still knew that he had once truly loved every note that flowed from my fingers. I clutched the music sheet tightly, then loosened my grip, and finally just gently placed it on the ground. Arthur, too, didn't deserve forgiveness, but his dream deserved a little dignity from this world. In front of the cafeteria, people came and went bustlingly. Julian Xu stood there, tall and straight like a tree, but when he saw me, the tree seemed to awaken, happily waving with its branches. Coincidentally, today he was also wearing a white shirt, his handsome face looking as if it had stepped out of a comic book. He seemed even more attractive than in the early days when we first met. He walked closer, took my hand, and gently chided, "You talked to him for a whole 23 minutes." As soon as I met Arthur too, I had texted Julian Xu, telling him I needed to talk to Arthur too privately to end things. Suddenly, I noticed a small scratch on his wrist. You had to look closely to see it. Did you get into a fight? I looked at him with a probing gaze. Julian Xu feigned innocence. No, just a cat scratch. Oh, well, it seems Arthur Two's injury is probably worse, so there's nothing to worry about anymore. Oh dear, luckily the cat didn't scratch your face. If your face is fine, everything is fine. Otherwise, my wife would surely leave me. Julian Xu looked up at the sky, lamenting with a mournful expression. He unexpectedly bent down and gave me a kiss. A cat scratch really hurts, but one kiss from my wife makes all the pain go away. I stood on tiptoes, gently kissed his lips, and smiled. In her final year of university, Hannah Ha excelled, winning a full scholarship to study abroad as the top student. Julian Xu persuaded his family and decided to attend the same university. If she had wings to fly high, he would be the wind accompanying her. Arthur too asked someone to send Hannah Ha a congratulatory message, but at that time she was sound asleep. Julian Xu, fearing he would wake her, glanced at the foolish boy's sappy message and casually swiped left, deleting the chat. Meaningless information, nothing to regret not seeing. It was said that he was currently dating a girl from a wealthy family. The girl was very temperamental, complaining that Arthur too, who only knew how to play the violin, was useless and couldn't provide for their future. Every day, she pressured him to change his major. Arthur too, disheartened, often gathered with friends to drink. He drank so much he got fat, and eventually, the young lady dumped him with a dramatic flourish. Without a girlfriend to support him and struggling to find a job, Arthur too's life was currently very difficult. Everyone around said Hannah Ha was lucky to have found Julian Xu, a loyal and sweet guy from the school's confession wall. Whenever she heard this, Hannah Ha just smirked. Not at all. The one who gets to be with me is the lucky one. Only Julian Xu knew the full story. There was no such thing as someone falling in love so naturally. It was all a long calculated plan of his. And indeed, he was incredibly lucky. He and Hannah Ha had attended the same high school. However, at that time, he was too busy and often absent from school. Even though they weren't in the same class, he vaguely knew that there was a unique girl in the next class, with sparkling eyes, full of enthusiasm in everything she did, and couldn't take her eyes off handsome boys. His mother was a famous actress, always wanting to send her son abroad as soon as possible. With a face inherited from his mother, becoming a famous idol was only a matter of time. At that time, Julian Xu was young and had no clear goals. He just thought if such a path existed, he might as well try it. He diligently practiced singing and dancing, even released a few albums, and finally saw a glimmer of hope. Who would have thought that some male classmates discovered his albums online and publicly played them in class, mocking him? What's so great about having a celebrity mom? No talent at all. Terrible singing, and you look so effeminate. Do you think you can debut in Korea? I heard the entertainment industry is dirty. Who knows, maybe his celebrity mom slept her way to the top. Later you'll follow in your mother's footsteps. Mother and son can both sleep their way to a career, huh? Ha ha ha. That was the first time Julian Xu resorted to violence. When he got home, his mother was furious, asking why her obedient son had gotten into a fight with classmates. He remained stubbornly silent. It was just the two of them, mother and son, and his mother had worked hard to raise him. He didn't want her to hear such insults. That night, he threw away all his albums and fully focused on academics. He wanted to prove to everyone that Julian Xu, without relying on anyone, could still get into a prestigious university. But fighting meant discipline. The school temporarily suspended him. The day he returned to school to pack his belongings happened to coincide with a charity fundraiser. He wore a mask, a black backpack on his shoulder, walking against the bustling crowd, and incidentally passed by the stall of the girl from the next class, that very same bright-eyed, distinctive girl. Hey, do you want to buy an album? Julian Xu stopped. What stunned him was that the albums he had thrown into the trash were being carefully picked up, one by Hannah Ha. Each one was meticulously wiped clean without a speck of dust. The girl's clear eyes sparkled, reflecting the boy's clearly surprised face. Julian Xu coldly turned his face away and said, "I'm not buying. You can tell it sounds bad just by looking at it, and the signature is ugly too." The girl hastily said, "Don't go." She carefully held up an album as if it were a precious treasure. On the cover was an image of a young man looking up in backlight, his features still nascent but full of stubbornness. Although his singing technique isn't perfect yet, his compositions are very emotional. It's really good. Buy it. Who knows, maybe this classmate will become a star later, then this will be a limited edition. As she unexpectedly came closer, Julian Xu clearly saw the name tag on her chest. It read 3 characters, Hannah Ha. Hannah Ha scratched her head, a little embarrassed. Actually, I even secretly asked a friend in the music department to help me add a backing vocal track that I sang. Why did you pick these up? His voice trembled slightly. Because someone is seriously pursuing their dream. Hannah Ha carefully wiped them clean again. When these were thrown into the trash, they were all carefully wrapped in dust-proof bags, and each one was clearly numbered. I think their owner must have been very heartbroken to let them go. So I'm keeping them for him and promoting them at the same time, hee. She smiled radiantly, a smile brighter than the sun. If I had this much dedication to studying math, I probably would have gotten into Huada, right? No, I have to apply to Tsinghua to study with Arthur too. The wind ruffled her hair. She let out a small cry, covering her face with the back of her hand, then stopped speaking nonsense. But that moment was etched deeply into Julian Xu's heart for a very, very long time. That day, he bought all the albums, then returned home to study for his exams. And in the late nights when he was almost breaking down, it was the sounds from those albums that saved him. When filling out his university preferences, the first image that appeared in his mind was that face. She said she wanted to apply to Huada, but before that, she said she had to apply to Tsinghua because of someone. Who was that? Was it the person she liked? Julian Xu decided to take a gamble. He applied to Huada. If he could truly meet her again at Huada, even if she liked someone else, he would definitely not give up. Luck smiled upon him. Among over 3,000 messages in the comments section of the confession page for new students, Julian Xu patiently scrolled to the very last page and finally found a unique ID. I'm not a pig, * you are. He took countless photos of himself from angles he considered his most handsome. Finally, he decided to make a direct approach, sending pictures of his face and six-pack abs with the message, "Classmate, do you want to date me? If you're worried I'm not sincere, we can try online dating." He gathered all his courage, and destiny began to move. The unfinished melody finally blossomed and bore fruit. From a withered heart, the first notes of spring rang out.